Here's a question. Can those who have just died, can they let us know, or do they ever let us know that they've just gone? And there's plenty of evidence that yes, that does happen. And actually, I had an experience um, of just that. So I'll just tell you about it now. Um, a good friend of mine, her mum, I'd gotten to know her quite well. I would say in the 12 months before she passed, and she was a great lady, really great lady in her 80s, early 80s. And but she had a great sense of humour. She was a widow, but just, just really great. Anyway, one day we called round because I'd been working with this friend for a little bit, and we'd nip round there some days once when we were working, and to see her, Jane, the mum, and she looked a little bit yellow one day, and we were kind of joking, and I said to her, "Look, are you going rusty, Jane?" Because she was saying she felt fine. She said she felt absolutely fine, but she just did look slightly orangey yellow. Um, and she was never a big eater. She hadn't been a big eater for a while. She would have a little bit, but I think gradually she started kind of going off her food. Anyway, to cut a long story short, um, it was it must have been between Christmas and New Year. Oh no, yeah, it was just after Christmas. She went into hospital, and she was only going in for tests, and it emerged that she had a pancreatic problem. She had a pancreatic problem. But anyway, she'd only gone in for tests. That was all it was going to be, was tests. And she was due out the next day or the day after. And my friend had her spare room downstairs ready for her to go and stay there with her till after the new year. And she was looking forward to it. Anyway, so I don't know. I think this might have been about the 30th of December. I woke up the early hours of the morning. It must have been about 2 a.m. ish, and I saw Jane. I saw her standing by the side of the bed, and I don't know why, but she was wearing a blue round neck jumper, and I don't think I ever saw her in a blue round neck jumper. But I saw her in jumpers, but I never remember that one. And she was standing next to the bed, and I thought, oh, and she was smiling, but like you've just woken up, and you can see somebody, but it's slightly hazy. But I could see her clearly. And then I can't remember, I think I must have blinked a few times, and then she was no longer there. And then I picked up my phone to text my friend to say, I've just seen your mum by the side of the bed. And I thought, don't be ridiculous. You're going to text her at 2 in the morning to say, oh, by the way, your mum who's in hospital. Well, she's just been standing by the side of my bed. I thought, don't be ridiculous. Put the phone down. So I thought I must have been dreaming. I woke up the next morning, and it was about 7. I woke up and I noticed there was a text message. The phone was flashing. It was a text from my friend, say, Mum died in the early hours of this morning. I said, I know. And that is the God's honest truth. That happened, and the thing is, she wasn't expected to die, but my friend had said that she she didn't like being in hospital, and I think maybe it frightened her, and she just sort of overnight deteriorated, just like warmth, just deteriorated. And so that was a great comfort to me. That was a huge comfort to me, because I, even if I was dreaming it, no, there was still, she was showing me that she was letting me know that she was okay. And I love that about her. I will always love that. And then there's a kind of a weird follow. Well, it's not a weird follow on, but um, she was laid to rest in a small cemetery, very old cemetery, because I live in rural Wales, and there was a lot of her family had previously been buried there, and it was just this really old little graveyard, little cemetery. So anyway, my friend had stopped one day while we were out and said she wanted to go and put flowers, there on the grave. And I said, I'll come with you. So we walked there, we parked up, and then we walked there. And it was awful. I hated it. I absolutely hated it, because to me, it smacked of deterioration. It smacked of decay. That's what it is. It smacked of decay. And I just found it. awful. And so the next time, we were out and she wanted to go, I said, would you mind if I sit in the car? And I explained to her why I wasn't scared. It wasn't a case of being frightened. But, to me, the life force of Jane, she'd just been a wonderful, person, funny. She laughed a lot. You could talk with her, you could have conversations and she would really chuckle, and always very kind, as they always are. Older ladies, and they're determined, right? You're going to sit down and have a cup of tea. Never mind that you're doing it. She's like that. And I don't know why, but it didn't feel peaceful to me. It didn't think, oh, what a lovely place. It just felt, it was just decay. And I don't know whether it was because it was a particularly old graveyard. Now, my friend didn't see it that way, so I didn't really embellish it. I didn't want to upset her. So I think I just said it makes me feel uncomfortable. But I'd already decided long ago anyway that when I die, I want to be cremated. Yeah, and just, there's a number of places where everyone, if they want, everyone who loves me can have a little bit in a little bottle or a box if they want to. But then there's certain places where, the rest of the ashes can go. And that even strengthened it for me that's how it's going to be. So I don't know. I think probably it was because it was a very old little churchyard. Maybe, maybe that made it worse. Not that it should be modern, but yeah, there was a lot of old graves there, and there were some that obviously hadn't been tended for a long time, So I think the whole place just didn't have a really nice, peaceful feeling. But that was me. And obviously, Jane's loved ones obviously haven't felt that. And that's a good thing. That's a really good thing they haven't felt that, because I don't want them to feel that way. Anyway, so there you are. Yeah. I've forgotten even what I started talking about with this video now. So I'm going to have to remind myself about, I know, it was about paranormal activity that is or isn't, I think. Because I've made a couple of videos on the run. I've made a couple of videos on the run, and I was looking at myself in the camera there, you see. So you forget to look at the little bit here, the camera here, and you end up looking at yourself when you're talking sometimes. Yeah. And I could and should trim this bit out, but I don't know whether I'll be able to or not. Anyway, so whatever I started off talking about, that's what I'm ending up talking about. And so again, if you thumbs up, thumbs down, whatever, if you want more videos, do you want to listen to more videos, see more videos, please subscribe. And if there's anything, I never thought of saying this actually before, but if there's any topic that you would like me to talk about as a medium of, or somebody who worked as a medium for 25, 26 years, and who is I've got my own beliefs, as I've explained in another video. I'm not a spiritualist medium. I was a medium, but I'm not a spiritualist medium. And people think automatically they're the same thing. They're not. They're not. There is, that spiritualist movement has its own particular beliefs and doctrine. Whereas it is possible to also believe some of that stuff and in the continued consciousness beyond death, and yet not really follow all of that doctrine, or work in that way. Anyway, I'm not dissing them or criticizing, by the way, I'm just explaining. So if there's anything you would like me to touch on, then please let me know, and if I can, I will. Yeah. Bye.